Okay guys, I'm here with Fritz. He's standing here outside his Hetzer here. He's a little bit upset because they parked him right next to a T-34-85. Yeah, sorry about that, Fritz. Okay guys, so when we came here today we had this plan that we were going to go through a bunch of tanks, going to film them, we're going to go into details on all of them. Unfortunately, it happens every time I go to a cool place like this. You run into a bunch of cool people that have a bunch of awesome stories to tell. I mentioned today Wargaming is here filming, which obviously we had to run around a little bit. But before we're done, because we're getting close to closing time, I want to focus on just kind of show you real quick what this place has to offer. I'm a big World of Tanks buff, so obviously a lot of these tanks are really cool to see in real life. And behind me, I have the T-34-85, just one of the options. I don't know about you guys, I hated grinding through this one. I'm seriously, you're getting a T-34 with just a little bit better gun. It's not fun at all. Anywho, real life though, this was quite an important tank. Kind of the middle way, you know, the middle ground tank. The Germans, some of the German tanks were worse, definitely, than this one, and some of them were better. But by the spring of 1944, 1,200 of these babies were getting pushed out of the factories each month. Month? Yeah, month. That's crazy, isn't it? So we also, on top of this cool tank, we got the Hetzer. And we have the Marder II. Both tanks that I really loved when I played the game. The history with these, of course, were that as the war progressed, the earlier lighter tanks of the German army weren't sufficient anymore. So what to do with them? Well, you could, create tank destroyers, which they did. The Marder II was an adaptation of the Panzer II chassis. First, 50% Marder II was made, and then 50% Panzer II, eventually 75% Marder II were made, because the stopping power of this obviously was a lot better than the Panzer II. Also mentioned the Hetzer, which was, as the Marder II, a conversion of the 38T chassis. This is a great little tank destroyer, I must say, quite successful. It lived up to what the Germans needed at the time, and it was quite easy to produce. So quite a big number of these were out by the end of the war. Low profile, quite nimble, not as fast as intended though, it became quite a bit heavier. But the designer of these, obviously keeping the low profile and still squeezing in a big gun like this, and also a crew of 4, gave them some big challenges. But they succeeded. It was quite a successful tank. I really enjoyed playing this in World of Tanks. I'm sure a lot of you guys did, especially with the derp cannon, 10.5 centimeter. Wow, awesome. Pause up. Yeah. Okay guys, so when we decided to come here to Arsenalen Tank Museum, like everyone else, as a true Swedish patriot as I am, of course, and also an avid player of World of Tanks, we kind of been dreaming and wanted a Swedish tankry into the game. So when we came here today, guess who was here to greet us? Well, not greet us at all, we were just pretty much been in the way all day. The World of Tanks people are here filming. So are they doing that because they enjoy tanks as much as us, or do they have a plan with it? Well, I'll let you guys decide on that. But I thought that if fan heter teorier, David? Eller, nej, inte theories, vad säger jag om... Spå, vad säger man? Predictions. Tack! Det är därför jag satt bredvid dig i skolan. Har du stoppat filma eller fortsätter vi bara? Okay. So if the predictions are correct, there is some theories about how the Swedish tankry might look. And so I thought it would be nice for you guys to see how the Tier 9 artillery might look. And here it is. You like it? It's nice, isn't it? Yeah, but really been high tech in the Swedish military. Obviously, this is not it. Here it is. They proposed Tier 9 Swedish artillery. This is just theories, of course. I have no clue if this is the point, but it's a pretty cool piece of work. This is a one-of-a-kind prototype. 15.5 centimeter gun. Okay, so this is a prototype, and this is the prototype that eventually will be the mass-produced B-Can 1. Which was used by the Swedish military. The prototype is actually quite different from the version that we would see in reality, but it's still pretty cool design. They had a magazine-fed cannon that had 14 rounds in one magazine, so you could fire those 14 rounds in 45 seconds. And then it only took 2 minutes to reload with a new magazine. Each cartridge or ordnance, whatever you want to call it, weighs 47 kilos, so it's quite a lot of metal flying in there. The range was 25 kilometers at the time. So we will see if the predictions are correct. Will this be the Tier 9 artillery in the Swedish tank trees? We don't know, but if it is, well, this is how it looks in reality. We also had a chance to see at the moment them driving out the tank 103, which is a really famous Swedish tank that will probably be somewhere in, I would guess, the tank destroyer line as well. So a lot of cool things. Kind of cool to see that they're here filming. So maybe we will see some results of that quite soon. Okay guys, so when we were visiting the arsenal outside of Strängnäs, as I mentioned, Wargaming was there as well, taking pictures and shooting some videos and taking a bunch of measurements of different Swedish tanks. They also had the tank 103 or the tank S taken out for a spin. They were gone for about an hour. Unfortunately, they didn't. I guess they didn't want us to film too much, but I managed to get some shots on it while it was backing out of the garage and as it was leaving. The tank S is kind of a cool tank. Right, if you listen to the beginning of the clip, you can actually see it has two engines. So it has a smaller diesel engine when it's driving slow, and you can actually, in the beginning of the clip, you can hear it's powering up the gas turbine engine. As mentioned, it's quite unique. You can see here it doesn't have a turret, so the profile is really low, and also so to move or to move the gun, it's actually using hydraulics, so it's moving the entire tank up and down. And you can imagine peeking over a little crest or a little hill with this. You can imagine it's pretty hard to hit. So this tank had an autoloader, and one of the criticism that the tank got when it was introduced was that it wasn't able to fire on the move. During this time though, although some tanks or most tanks could fire on the move, the accuracy wasn't great. So in real life this wasn't as big of a drawback as it is on paper. This of course was a great ambush tank. You can actually dig yourself down in the ground with it or stand behind a small crest and then just wait for targets. You empty the autoloader, and then you actually have an optional third crew member that could operate the tank driving backwards. So he can sit in the back and just go full speed, get a new position, reacquire the targets, and then unload your autoloader and just repeat. So as I mentioned, this was quite a unique tank when it came, quite popular in the Swedish Army. Also a cool feature, it had a raceable flotation device built in, so you can actually put the screen up automatically around it, and you can actually go over water, rivers and such in a speed of 6 kilometers an hour. So that was a really cool feature, and obviously in Sweden with a lot of rivers, this meant that you could outrun the enemy tanks while they had to wait for bridges and such. So it's just really nice to see this in action. There's a lot of cool films out there. So I will put a link into the description and you can see some more facts about this awesome tank. Okay, so I want to finish off this visit today standing in front of this glorious Sherman Firefly, which the little bastard as it is, quite successful bastard though. The arsenal, if you're in this area, you should really visit it because you have so much more than I'm able to show you today. You have tanks from the Cold War, you have T-55s, you have chieftains, you also have the Centurion, of course, which was part of the Swedish military. You also have the Leo II, the tank 122 as it's called in Sweden. On top of that, you got a lot of cool exhibits. You got cars, you got trucks, just a bunch of stuff. So I can really recommend this place. I'm sure I'll come back here, and if there's something special you want to see, you know, just send me a comment, and if you just give me a reason to come back here, I'm sure I'll enjoy it. So thank you for today, and I'll hope you got to see some stuff you hadn't seen before, and if you had seen it before, I still hope you enjoyed it. Take care, guys and girls.